Poppin' B. Purpock here, and welcome back to another episode of Race the Ramen, the show where I attempt to review something unscripted in the amount of time it takes to boil an instant ramen. And today we'll be taking a look at Teenage Sex and Death at Camp Miasma. Showing now in movie theaters. Alright, I'm going to start the timer right now. Okay, so, Teenage Sex and Death at Camp Miasma. Or as most people have been calling it, Camp Miasma, because that title's kind of a mouthful. This is the most recent feature film from director Jane Schoenbrun, who, if you don't know who they are, that's reasonable. And if you do know who they are, you're probably already a little obsessed with their work, or maybe not the biggest fan. Their stuff can be a bit divisive, it seems, what little work they've made already. Their most famous contribution to the filmmaking arts so far, at least from my opinion and most people's opinion, it seems, is I Saw the TV Glow, which I reviewed back when it was new, a while back on this channel. And I never reviewed it, but I did enjoy their first feature narrative film before that, We're All Going to the World's Fair. And after TV Glow in particular, which was really crazy, kind of just earth-shaking, new voice in film kind of movie. It had a lot of people talking, still got people talking. I was like, alright, whatever they make next, whatever Jane makes next, I'm in. And then they announced this crazy thing. Fun fact, the title, the full title was announced when the project was announced, and I remember saying out loud, wow, they're definitely going to change that name by the time they get to the final project. Whoops. Egg on my face. Kind of glad they didn't. I kind of love how all of their films have these long, almost off-putting, sentence-like titles. It's fun. Anyway, if you're not familiar with their work or not familiar with this movie, let me give you a basic rundown. This new film stars a woman nearing her 30s named Chris, who's a filmmaker, and she goes out to this little town somewhere in America to find the aged actress who once played the final girl in this original installment in this slasher franchise called Camp Miasma. And then when she gets out there and finds her, the two of them start to talk and bond and discuss the series of Camp Miasma and what it means to them. And slowly, crazy stuff starts to happen, and the line between fiction and reality gets blurrier and blurrier. That really is kind of the hallmark of Jane's work, is that most of it so far, if not all of it, has this sort of theme of exploring how the media we watch and partake in affects us developmentally, and how it continues to affect us even once we've grown. And I found the last two features they made, TV Glow and World's Fair, really good, but also generally kind of sad, morose. Almost like an exploration of how nostalgia is a curse, something that we don't really choose to have. And it's interesting how this movie plays with those themes in entirely different ways from either of those. I thought that Camp Miasma was really good. I don't know how many people will understand this reference or appreciate this comparison, but for me, it felt like something like a Cabin in the Woods crossed with adaptation or something. Obviously the Camp Miasma franchise does not really exist. This whole thing is basically a legally distinct stand-in for the Friday the 13th franchise, and it's discussing how this series has been rebooted and sequeled to death, and this new filmmaker wants to make something interesting and unique. And essentially the movie that they make is the movie we're watching. This whole bizarre meta angle that it acknowledges itself a lot of the time is really interesting, and it's really not a typical slasher movie at all. You get big chunks of just getting to watch like this faithful recreation of these old 70s, 80s style like horror slashers, but it's like elevated and like camp, and between all of that you have just a ton of like character study and just like beautiful like environments. There's great like background paintings and sets and all this stuff, and it's just surprising the number of places it manages to take this premise. What seems like almost just, a joke movie to make fun of, haha, horror movies get rebooted all the time. It's a weirdly, like, introspective story about self-confidence and sexuality and lots of things. It's amazing. You should see it. Hopefully that gives you a decent impression of what I think of the movie. When I reviewed I Saw the TV Glow, I thought I did an okay job explaining all the different almost like existentialist themes that were like present in it. And I don't know if I can do it as much with Camp Miasma. It's easier to experience and understand yourself and have someone describe it to you. Just know that if you weren't already a fan of Jane Schoenbrun's style of like this kind of atypical pacing for the sake of a story that kind of reveals its bigger hat trick later on, where it starts relatively normal and gets weirder and weirder until it just like builds to something. If you're not a fan of that, this probably won't win you over, because while I really liked it, I'd say it is the most, I guess I could say endemic or typical of Jane's style, of the slower pace and like the more modern millennial sort of writing in certain aspects. This is a much sillier, funnier movie than anything I've seen from them so far, and yet it still manages to have emotional moments and take itself seriously. It's like a sweet love story of sorts, and it's almost like a sympathy for the monster story. There's just so much going on. I see this being one of my favorite movies of the year by the time the year is up, because I haven't stopped thinking about this since I saw it last week. It is an impressive, unique, bizarre, truly Schoenbrun style film. And if you want to see something cool and different, something that may very well inspire you to just go out and make something, then I suggest Camp Miasma wholeheartedly. It's a different kind of horror movie, but it's a really good one. And yeah, strong recommendation from me. I give Camp Miasma a 9 out of 10. I'm excited for whatever the next thing Jane Schoenbrun comes up with, and there's a good chance this will be my horror movie of the year. Granted, it's been a good year. It's been stuff like Obsession, and I haven't seen Buddy yet, which I'm really excited for, but this is really sticking with me, and it feels, for such a silly movie, for such a dorky premise, just like this artistic, introspective Friday the 13th parody, basically. It is just very smart and sweet and tender and well made, and you should check it out.
There is a hole at the bottom of the lake where the movies come from. He always comes back.
What?